Ladies and gentlemen, here we stand. Monday morning, Monday, 10:15 a.m. It is February 15th, 2021, and we're coming back at you with a new episode of the Underground Knee MMA Show, the place you want to be at after a pay-per-view. It's always the place you want to be at after a fight night, but especially after a pay-per-view when there's tons to talk about, potential matchups on the line. There's no other place except maybe a Below the Belt with B-Shop is a good one, as my favorite podcast of all time. But if you're cool and you listen to this one, this is where you want to be. We're coming at you on Zoom. Now, you might not notice it. If you don't notice it, it's because we had a new camera. If you have not listened to our new episode with UFC featherweight/lightweight Justin James, then you don't know that we got a new camera. But we got a new camera. Whoop-de-doo. Woohoo! We got a new camera, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Logitech for the new camera. About $75 down the drain, but I mean, hey, quality's gonna come in. Quality's gonna come in and be absolute killer. It's good for the channel. It definitely makes me feel a lot more excited about the whole thing, about the whole Zoom production, because I was getting kind of tired of having the whole Zoom production be kind of trash. It's a lot easier, but the quality was a lot lower. But now I feel like it's just whatever. We're able to do a ton of things now. I shouldn't say a ton of things because nothing really changes except the fact that this camera is a lot cooler. Speaking of cool cameras, UFC's got some new cameras. That 8K camera, absolutely sick. Now they've got it in UFC. I don't know if they have it in the NBA. They have it in the WWE and the NFL. The NFL is where like shot up, and it's absolutely killer. So good on the UFC for getting that camera. Absolutely sick. And it's just in time. Guess everybody just gets new cameras. We got a 1080p Logitech camera. Don't get much sicker than that. Now, before we even get into anything, can we just appreciate the fit? Appreciate the drip I'm rolling with right now? We got the Represent LTD hoodie. Shout out to those dudes, Stockton, West Side, 209. Those dudes and Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz. I'm not the biggest, I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan when he's not fighting Conor McGregor. So I rock the Represent stuff. When he's fighting Conor McGregor, I'm going to throw this on the side if that fight ever happens again. But when Nate's not talking crazy about Conor, I love Nate Diaz. As soon as Conor's name gets put in his mouth, and all the Represent stuff's getting pushed to the side, we'll deal with you a different day. Mate. But anyway, the thing that I really want to get into is the drip right here. We got the new UFC hoodie. First time I'm ever wearing this bad boy. I'm sure you've seen them post advertisements for it on the mid-fight in the bottom right corner, or whatever the heck they do. But it's actually kind of sick. Built-in mask hoodie. Like, look, it ain't even connected. I don't wear these gaiters. I'd much rather have them be like across my ears, like being held up by my ears. But this one's just, it makes it a ton easier. Because like now, like it's always there. If I ever wear this hoodie, which is the first time I did, like for example, I wore this hoodie to class today. You know how simple that was? You know how simple it was? Literally, I was like, oh, don't have a mask, whatever. Went like that. Took my thing, went like that, said I was here, and got to learning some economics. 10:19 in the morning, we're a class down. We got a good lift in. Shout out to the Olivet Comets, Roll Comets. But yeah, and speaking of Comets, it was an absolute honor of mine, pleasure. I don't know. I might have said that wrong. I don't know. I don't know how modern Shakespearean literature works, but it was an absolute honor to get that. That's what I should have said. It's an absolute honor to have gotten UFC lightweight/featherweight and Olivet College alumni Justin James on the podcast yesterday. It was one of my favorite episodes I've done, just because he's from about 30 minutes from my hometown. We have the same area code, and we both went to the same college. He graduated from Olivet in, I believe, 2007. 2007, I think. 2007. He wrestled here while doing. I'm pretty sure he said during his 4 years here, he had 47 amateur fights here, and it's just awesome when you can feel those connections. So if you guys have not, make sure you go listen to that episode. Hands down, probably one of my favorite episodes I've ever done. Just because of all the connections we had, it just made for a great episode. But one thing we did talk about on that episode is UFC 258. So we're gonna get right into that. Before I get into anything, shout out to Andrew Downer and Jacob Bucks for watching the pay-per-view with me. I'm probably one of like 7 people in the world to have bought this pay-per-view, but it's whatever. It was a good night. It wasn't the most exciting card. I'll be straight up. I don't think that there's a performance, or excuse me, I don't think that there's a fight of the night on what day is that? On Saturday. I think they just gave out 4 performance of the night bonuses. There's no like outstandingly fun fights. Like if you were trying to show somebody the UFC and how cool it is, definitely wasn't the card for it. But regardless, if you stayed into it and you watched the main event, the main event was a pretty good fight. The main event was awesome. Didn't end how I wanted it to, but I mean, it ended how I thought it was going to happen. So if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. Let's just get right into it. I had practice till 9 on Saturday, so I was not able to watch the prelims. I watched, what was his name? I watched, the first fight I watched was Anthony Hernandez versus Rodolfo Vieira, which, no, I'm sitting there watching this fight, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a traditional striker versus grappler. But come to find out that Rodolfo Vieira is a 3 or 7-time Abu Dhabi world champion in jiu-jitsu. So at that point, you're thinking, all right, Hernandez cannot take this fight to the ground. But instead, he takes it to the ground. When he takes it to the ground, you're like, what the heck's happening? But the thing about the fight is Anthony Hernandez was on the ground within 5 seconds. Rodolfo Vieira has one of the worst gas tanks I've ever seen on a professional fighter. One of the worst. I don't know who told them it'd be a good idea to go into a fight with a gas tank like this, but whoever told him, yeah, you're all good, your gas tank's perfect, we're going to kill this fight, you're going to go 15 minutes. You were wrong. You were wrong, my friend. You were wrong. I don't think I've seen somebody gas so fast. He was gassed in the first 2.5 minutes. Like you just fought a 15-minute war in 2.5 minutes. And I think for Anthony Hernandez in that first round, he absolutely pieced him up the second half of the round. He caught him with so many. He caught him with like punches and elbows, kicks, all the above. If you can name a strike, Anthony Hernandez threw that in that fight. And for Hernandez to go out there, and I think it was like a plus 3,000. Like it was crazy for him to submit a Vieira, and for him to go out there and get that submission win against Rodolfo Vieira, absolutely insane for his career. And beating a dude on the ground like that is insane. Sure, most of the damage that was done in the fight was from the feet, but I was listening to a couple of things about it, and sounded like he told his coaches jokingly, like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and submit this guy. And they told him, don't get that in your head. You're not doing that. Like, that's not happening. With all due respect, we love you, and we think you're gonna win this fight, but you're not submitting this guy. And he goes out there and puts him in a guillotine and makes him go tap, tap, tappity, tap. That was a tight guillotine. There's not many people who could have got out of that anyway. I don't care if you're Tyron Woodley, maybe Khabib, I guess, but he doesn't even count. There's not many. There's about, in a world this big, you've got about that many people who can get out of that guillotine choke. It's very, very slim. But yeah, more in the prelims. Belal Muhammad beat Diego Lima. Belal Muhammad is one of those dudes who I think he deserves a ton of respect. The fact that he's not getting these huge fights yet is kind of disrespectful, for being honest. Kind of disrespectful. He's ranked 13, and they're still giving him dudes who he's heavy favorites over, and he should win. And I think for Belal, for his next fight, he needs to go out there and say, give me a dude who I can make a name off myself. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's only ranked 13, and he's fighting dudes like, with no disrespect to Diego Lima. Diego Lima is not one of the top dogs there. He should be fighting these dudes who are going to help him get closer to his title shot. No, he was 13, and I don't see any reason he shouldn't get a top 10 opponent next. It's the same with Beneil Dariush. They both deserve top 10 dudes. I think Carlos Diego Ferreira was 9. I think Beneil Dariush deserves somebody way, way higher at the top 5 dude. I don't really know who, but I don't really know who off the top of my head. But both Beneil Dariush, no, they're just both those fighters who, both Bilal Muhammad and Beneil Dariush are both those fighters who just don't get the respect they deserve for some reason. They're so much better than they are, but they're just not getting those big fights. It's weird. Company's weird, but I love it. Poliana Viana with the submission over Mallory Martin. Poliana Viana is so good. Chris Gutierrez beat Andre Ewell. I'm kind of an Andre Ewell fan. Didn't want to see that outcome, but I mean, hey, Chris Gutierrez is a player at 135, whether you like it or not. Definitely underrated, and can definitely be a dog at the division. And in the prelims, Phil Rowe lost Gabe Green unanimously. Now, and again, the main card. Getting to the main card, I see a lot of things about, if we're being honest, I'll be surprised if this pay-per-view did more than 200,000 buys. Not the best. It's not the best pay-per-view. It's not the best card. And I mean, how can I put it? If you're a diehard fan, then it's an okay card. Because you have Ricky Simone, Brian Kelleher, 2 dogs. You want to see that fight. Like, yeah, they're not contenders, but they're awesome people to watch. They're awesome fighters to watch. And then you have Julian Marquez making his long-awaited return after, I think it was 31 months or something crazy like that, 2.5 years or something crazy like that. He didn't get the fight. And then, you have Kelvin Gastelum, a former world title challenger who was on a skid. People were starting to wonder if he was done or not. Dude, this mask is bothering me. I might just take it off. I think it looks kind of cool, though. I kind of want to leave it on. Might be cool for the views. You have Kelvin Gastelum versus a young, hungry Ian Heinisch, and you're kind of interested. If you're a diehard fan, you're interested. How's Kelvin gonna bounce back after lost to Izzy, lost to Darren Till, lost to Jack Hermanson, and now they're still feeding him to the dogs. Ian Heinisch is not a force. You don't really want to mess with. He's a young, hungry, strong, up-and-coming lion. And Kelvin Gastelum's like, yeah, I'll take that fight. And we'll get in them. Then you have Macy Barber's return. It's another fighter who's returning. I'm still big on Macy Barber. I don't care what happened. And then you have 2 former teammates who, in my opinion, Gilbert Burns, probably one of the best BJJ practitioners we ever seen in the UFC. Kamaru Usman, who is slowly but surely becoming one of those dominant champions we've ever seen in the company. It was a decent card if you're a diehard fan. If you're a casual fan and if you're a casual fan and you just want to see some fun, entertaining fights, people going crazy, calling people out and stuff like that, save your money, wait for the next 2. UFC 259, and I think that's one reasons that a lot of people said this card wasn't worth it, because you have this card where where your co-main event, with all due respect, is Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber. Not the most fun main event, not the most fun co-main event. And then you also have a Kamaru Usman who doesn't know. I mean, he doesn't talk trash. I mean, it's no disrespect to him. That's his thing. That's his thing. There's some people like Conor McGregor can sell a fight. Jorge Masvidal can sell a fight. Nate Diaz can sell a fight. Colby Cummings can sell a fight. Kamaru Usman doesn't know. He just doesn't do that. Will it affect how much money he gets paid? It's just because of the buys. But that's just what we live in nowadays. It's annoying. It's arrogant. Kamaru Usman's a star. He's a star. He's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters we have in the UFC. Hands down, 100%. Hands down. In my opinion, it goes Khabib if he's still there, John Jones, and then And then if you want, you can make an argument between those top three, or excuse me, between the next three. You've got Kamaru Usman, Stipe Miocic, and Israel Adesanya. Pound for pound, I'd have to go Stipe Miocic, then Gilbert Burns, then Israel Adesanya. It's no disrespect to Israel Adesanya. It's just, I don't know, pound for pound, most dominant force, where I think that they could be the best at each division. I would just have to go with Gilbert Burns and Stipe Miocic over them. Their skill sets are much more rounded, but that's all. That's all I got about that. I don't want to get into no pound for pound rankings. The rankings are garbage anyway. If you follow the rankings, you believe in the rankings, they're garbage. This fight this past weekend was one of the first times that we were actually able to see, a true champ fight a true number one contender, in my opinion. So good on the UFC for that. But anyway, let's get into the main card. Main card, you had Julian Marquez defeating Amaki Pitolo in a fight that Julian Marquez was down 2 rounds. Easy. Down 2 rounds. And then I looked at the scorecards. He was down on all 3 judges' scorecards, 2 rounds down. Then out of nowhere pulls off an anaconda choke with a minute left or something crazy like that in the 3rd round. It's a great comeback story. It's a full comeback story. I'm not sure what the extent of his injury was. I believe it was a torn Achilles or something stupid like that. But for Julian Marquez, to come off of, I believe it was 2.5 years not fighting. Maybe if I'm wrong, don't quote me on that. But for him to come back off 2.5 years fighting, lose 2 rounds to a dude in Maki Pitolo, who I thought was very underrated, and this is going to be his coming out party, especially after fighting a decent sized name like Julian Marquez. I thought that he was going to go out there and prove his worth, and he did, but a fight's 15 minutes, it's not 14, and he lost in that last minute. It's awesome for Julian Marquez. He had a great call out of Miley Cyrus, but then he fumbled the bag. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go on Twitter. Just find him and Miley Cyrus's back and forth. He fumbled the bag, Julian. What is wrong with you, bro? Gosh. Come on, man. You gotta be better than that. You gotta be better than that, dude. But anyway, moving on. You had a Ricky Simon who I think is one of the most well-rounded bantamweights in the world as well. He hits hard. If he wants to go to the ground, he'll go to the ground. I'm not sure if he's as good as some of these top dogs at 135, but he's a dude who he'll win fights. He'll win fights and he'll lose fights. He's awesome to watch. He's really fun to watch. I'm a big fan of Ricky Simon. I'm a big fan of Brian Kelleher. And so, it wasn't, and like I said, it wasn't the most exciting fight. But Ricky Simon did go out there and defeat Brian Kelleher 30-27 on all 3 scorecards. So good for Ricky Simon. That's a decent sized win. I believe he's on a 3-fight win streak now. And for Kelleher, he's a company man. He fights 4 or 5 times. I feel like he's on every card. I feel like every single card I see Brian Kelleher's name come up. Am I wrong? Who knows? Who even knows anymore, man? But Kelleher's, he's a company man. He's fun to watch. It's the same with Ricky Simon. I feel like Ricky Simon fights a ton, and he's also a company man. He's really fun to watch, and this is a big dominant win for him. Hopefully, he gets the top 15 dude next, and we'll see what he can do at 135. He had that loss to Faber that really set him back, and then he had that loss to Rob Font that also set him back a little bit. So he's getting good opportunities. He just has to win the big fights. Hopefully he can eventually get another one, and hopefully he can win that one. Next, it's exactly what I said earlier. Kelvin Gastelum comes in here, and knows that the UFC is cutting people. For the UFC to cut Yoel Romero, who was also at 185, it really said a lot to these dudes who are older, who might not be in their prime anymore. It's no disrespect to Kelvin Gastelum. I don't think that he's in his prime anymore. What do I know? Absolutely nothing. But regardless of that, Kelvin Gastelum goes into this fight with the young, hungry dog in Ian Heinisch. And I'm taking this off. He goes into this fight with a young, hungry dog in Ian Heinisch, who is strong as strong can be. And I if we're being honest, I thought that Kelvin Gastelum was probably going to lose this fight. I thought that was kind of just like a passing of the torch at 185. You have Ian Heinisch, who is ranked 15, Kelvin Gastelum, who is ranked number 9, and he's ranked number 9 on a 3-fight losing streak. That just tells you how good Kelvin Gastelum is. If you have not, go watch his fight with Israel Adesanya. That co-main and main event combination, I forget what number it was. I don't even know. But that's one of the best co-main event and main event combinations of all time. And I'm not sure if we'll ever get one just as good as those two. In my opinion, the 2 fight of the years were back-to-back in a co-main event and main event slot. Excuse me. And so for Kelvin Gastelum, I think he just went out there and just outclassed and used his true experience in the cage and fighting, Israel Adesanya, Darren Till, Jack Hermanson, Michael Bisping, and he just went out there and proved why he's still a contender. And it's crazy the sport that we watch because for Kelvin Gastelum, it was either win this fight and be a contender again and being in the talks for potentially stepping in if Paulo Costa or Robert Whittaker fall out. And if he won this fight, then that's what he's doing. If he loses this fight, he's getting cut. Maybe no. If I'm being honest, if I was Kelvin Gastelum and I lost this fight, I'd be worried I'd be getting cut. So for Kelvin Gastelum to prove the doubters wrong and go out there and still win the fight, even battling through all this adversity, okay, I just lost to Israel Adesanya, fight of the year, whatever. They feed me Darren Till, which is not nice after a war. They feed me Darren Till, and I lose that fight close. Then I go out there and I get tapped by Jack Hermanson real fast. Poor Kelvin Gastelum a little bit. But yeah, a next for him. Excuse me. A next for him after just one win against a top 15 dude. Kelvin Gastelum's back to being in the title contention. I shouldn't say title contention yet, just because we have no idea what's going on 185. I'm thinking Israel Adesanya is going to defend both just because he's a beast like that. But if Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker does happen, which it's booked, it's got a date, but with these weird times we live in, these fights can get canceled just like that. So granted, he doesn't get that fight. Next for him, I would love to see him fight Jared Cannonier, or actually, I'd fight Jared Cannonier next, buddy. No. If Derek Brunson is to beat Kevin Holland, I say you could give Derek Brunson Kelvin Gastelum. If Kevin Holland wins that fight, he's getting in a top 3 dude. Not saying Kelvin Gastelum's not a top 3 dude, but and I know it's gonna sound stupid because I literally just said don't look at the rankings, but whatever. Knowing the UFC, Kelvin Gastelum's gonna move up to 7, and if Jared Cannonier's at 3 still, I don't see a problem in having those two fight each other. He's not going to fight Darren Till. He already fought Darren Till, lost. He's not going to fight Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori's booked against Darren Till. Not going to fight Jack Hermanson again. And I don't really see him fighting down and fighting Uriah Hall or fighting Derek Brunson or fighting Kevin Holland. And so it leaves Jared Cannonier and Kelvin Gastelum, which I think is a good fight. It's a dude in Jake Canier who's coming off of a loss. It was a close fight. I believe he won the third round. Against Robert Whitaker. You have a dude in Kelvin Gastelum who's coming off a win, and he's trying to prove to everybody else that he's here to play. He's here to stay. He doesn't care what you think. He's here to stay. He's a top dog. He's a top dog in the UFC. He gave what we think is the greatest striker of all time we've ever seen in the UFC a run for his money in Israel Adesanya. A run for his money in a fight that he had Izzy hurt. He struck with Israel Adesanya. Get that through your head. Kelvin Gastelum struck with Israel Adesanya and went toe-to-toe with him and was honestly, with 5 minutes left, 1 round left, 2-2. If I remember that fight correctly, 2-2 heading into the fifth. And for Israel Adesanya, and for Kelvin Gastelum, I just think, especially how good Israel Adesanya is right now, he's about to be a double champ in 19 days. For him to go out there and do that, I think it proves how good Kelvin Gastelum is. Maybe it just proves how good Ian Heinisch is, because you fought Gastelum, you won a round. But hey, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. But hey, what do I know? I only cover the sport. Next in the co-main event, excuse me. Favorite part about Zoom, I can pause the recording whenever I want. My apologies, everybody. I got a phone call. But as I was saying, next we got Macy Barber versus Alexa Grasso in a fight that I'm a big fan of Macy Barber. I think that her whole thing with her wanting to be the youngest champion in the UFC history was a great goal. She's 22 now, and she's got till January of next year to complete that goal. And I don't really think that she's going to get it, especially with 2 losses in a row. And plus, at the same time, I don't think anybody's beating Valentina Shevchenko for a very, very long time. I know. She lost 1 round in her last fight, and everybody's writing her off. It's the same thing that happened with Amanda Nunes after the Jermaine Durandamy fight. People wrote her off because she lost like 2 rounds or something like that. Or she lost a round and she lost 2 rounds on somebody else's scorecard. No, Valentina Shevchenko is not losing forever. And Amanda Nunes is fighting in 3 weeks, and she's not losing forever either. So get that through your head. Anyway. Macy Barber didn't come alive till the 3rd round. If she would have fought the 1st and 2nd round like she did the first 2, she would have won this fight easily. But Alexa Grasso just came out there, just kind of outclassed her the first 2, and was able to come out with the win. For Macy Barber, she was just doing some really weird things. She's throwing like full combinations while she's 10 feet away. I'm watching this. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, what? What are you doing, Macy? I don't know if she was trying to just like try and figure her out, or what the heck she was doing. But whatever, it didn't work. So I don't know who Macy's coach is. I don't know. I don't know anything about where she trains or whatever. But you need to go rewatch that fight and just watch that 3rd round and just think, I have to do this every single time. Because if she would have won either the 1st or the 2nd round, she would have done a phenomenal job, and she would have won the fight. She clearly won the 3rd round. And she proved that she has the cardio and the stamina to go those 15 minutes in the cage. She just didn't look good in the first 2. That could be because of ring rust. I know Dominic Cruz said it's not real, but he's Dominic Cruz. He's built different. But this was her first fight in 13 months. She tore her ACL against Roxanne Amataferi. And this was her first fight in 13 months. And in the first 2 rounds, she looked like she hadn't fought 13 months, which she had. And then in the third round, she came alive and showed, the old Macy Barber before she tore her ACL. And I think that, if we keep seeing that third round Macy in her career, then she can eventually be a champ. Will she be the youngest champion? No, she won't. She won't. But I hope throughout this year she can stay active because, it's the same thing that Conor McGregor said. After he lost to Dustin Poirier, I mean, yeah, sure, there's no excuses. Dustin beat him cold, clearly. But, with 40 seconds in the octagon in however many years, that's definitely going to wear off on you. And for Macy to not be able to be in there for 12 months, for a year and a month, that's probably why she lost. And in my opinion, that is why she lost. If she would have been able to, if she fought 4 months ago, I guarantee she wins this fight. But, with ring rust and with all that happened, Macy Barber wasn't able to come up with a win. For Alexa Grasso, she's finally turning into the fighter who we all expected her to be when she came out of Invicta. She's turning out to be a phenomenal contender at 125. But the thing about 125 is, I don't care how good you are. I don't care how high of a contender you are. You're not getting anywhere near the belt. Sure, you can fight for it. It can be on the line, and you can see it wrapped around somebody else's waist, but that's about all you're getting at. You're not getting anywhere near it. It's not getting wrapped around you for a long time. The only time it's getting wrapped around you is as soon as Valentina Shevchenko leaves that division, which honestly I don't see being for a very, very long time. She's going to reign power on 125 forever, for a long time. Now, getting to our main event of the evening. Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman. Two former friends, two former training partners at Sanford MMA. Same head coach, Henry Hooft. They're training with Michael Chandler on the daily. Beasts that they built. Now, coming into this fight, I thought that this fight was going to go a couple ways. I thought that it was going to be a submission by Gilbert Burns, a knockout by Gilbert Burns, or a Kamaru Usman decision win. I did not think that Kamaru Usman was going to be able to strike with him. I thought that, which at the same time, I forgot about his 5-inch reach advantage. I did. And that jab, Kamaru Usman's jab, was disgusting. That was among one of the best jabs in a performance we've ever seen in the UFC. And I'll be honest, I'm going to credit that all to Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman, in my opinion, is the best head coach in mixed martial arts. There's nobody who compares to Trevor Whitman. He took Justin Gaethje, an absolute brawler, doesn't care what happens. I just like to be hit. I think it's cool, into a dude who purely outclassed Tony Ferguson. He outclassed Tony Ferguson. It was as simple as that, and that's all because of Trevor Whitman. In my opinion, Trevor Whitman's the best coach in the world. There's nothing you can say that'll make me change my mind. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And so for Kamaru Usman to go train with him after he becomes a champ, I thought that was really dangerous for 170. And there's not really, except for Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, those are the only two, and Stephen Thompson, because how can you not love Stephen Thompson? I'm not really, a diehard fan of any dudes at 170. And so I was like, all right, Kamaru Usman's gonna be a champ for a long time. And as he's still fighting, he's getting better and better and better. That Colby Covington fight basically solidified it for me. This dude is a king at 170. Then he goes out there and beats and beats what's his face? Jorge Masvidal. And I mean, it wasn't the most fun fight. I mean, simple as that. It was boring. It was 50-45 decision, held him up against the cage for 25 minutes and stomped his foot. Simple as that. Was it fun? No. But did he do what he had to do to win the fight and keep his belt? Yeah. So that's all you can do. It's not the most fun way. It's not the way that's going to get the most money in your pocket. But if that's what you got to do, what you have to do to win, then so be it. Do it up. Do it. And I thought that in the first round, 30 seconds in, and Gilbert Burns drops him, I'm like, oh my God, he's not able to handle his power. But then as soon as he heard him, he kind of, I kind of wish he would have, put pressure on Kamaru a lot more. And then as soon as he didn't get the immediate knockout, he laid on his back for 2 minutes while Kamaru recovered. And I'm like, Gilbert, what are you doing? You had him hurt 30 seconds ago. Get on your feet, strike with the guy. You have the power to hit this guy. You can knock this guy out. I know in the post-fight scrum or whatever you want to call it, Kamaru Usman talked about how it was just one punch. It didn't hurt him per se. He just kind of needed to feel a punch again or whatever garbage that was. That's garbage. He's training with Justin Gaethje every day. He's getting punched all the time. But I mean, I do respect, it's the same way for me in baseball. As soon as I step on the field, I have straight tunnel vision. In practice, I'm lollygagging around. As soon as I step on the field, straight tunnel vision, and that's just that's how I anticipate a fight going. Fight probably is much worse. You have people coming at you trying to knock your head off. I've got a person trying to hit a baseball 330 dead left. Bit of a difference. But regardless of that, for Kamaru Usman to go out there and after the first round, which he lost, and then go out there and hurt him with just jabs on top of jabs on top of jabs in the second round, I did not think he was going to last to the third round, and I think the fight got finished, 40 seconds? 40 seconds in that third round. It was a phenomenal win for Kamaru Usman over the in my opinion, true number one contender. The only thing I did not like about this fight is, except the fact that Gilbert Burns didn't win, is the post-fight interview. I thought of all people he could have called out, he called out Jorge Masvidal, which don't get me wrong, big Jorge Masvidal guy right here. I, as a Masvidal fan, do not want to see that fight. Why do I want to watch that? There's no reason I want to watch that fight because as soon as I watch that fight, it's the same outcome. It's the same exact outcome because as soon as that fight happens, no, pure boxing, Jorge Masvidal is a better boxer than Kamaru Usman. Striker, I'd probably take Kamaru Usman. Pure boxer, Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman's not going to want to strike with Jorge Masvidal. It's as simple as that. It's going to be a lot of clinch work, a lot of ground game. Maybe I doubt he'll be able to hit Masvidal. I don't think he'll be able to hit Masvidal again. It'll be the same outcome as last time. Boring decision. I know he says he wants to finish him. He won't finish him. Another thing that bothers me about the post-fight talk or whatever is that people comparing him to George St. Pierre. Hold your horses. George St. Pierre rained down on division forever. George St. Pierre, in my opinion, is the third best fighter we've ever seen in the UFC. Kamaru Usman's nowhere near that level yet. George St. Pierre is so world class and so skilled and well rounded at every aspect of the game. I'm not saying Kamaru Usman's not, because he is, but George St. Pierre was doing this forever, and people are just saying, "Oh yeah, he has a 170 record for consecutive wins. He must be better." No, buddy. That's not how it works. It's really not. It's not. But anyway, if Kamaru Usman wants to be better than George St. Pierre, he's gonna have to defend this belt for 3 more years. No, he's gonna have to defend the belt 3 more years, 6 more times, in my opinion. And then go up to 185 and win the belt, just like George St. Pierre did. I think that's in the whole GOAT talk that we have nowadays. I think that is a clear-cut criteria we have to focus on. Is if they're pound for pound really good, if they're able to go up in weight, if they're able to go down in weight and beat other dudes. That's why I think John Jones, in my opinion, is the greatest mixed martial artist we've ever seen in the UFC, in my opinion. in my opinion. And it bothers me that there are people who don't agree with me because, in my opinion, if John Jones, which, I mean, I guess this hasn't happened yet, so there's no point in calling it bluff or calling it not. If John Jones is to go up to heavyweight and beat either Stipe Miocic or Francis Ngannou, because they said that's going to happen next, if he's able to do that, there's no argument. There's no argument. There's no argument. Oh, the steroids, the loss to Matt Hamill. No, didn't lose to Matt Hamill. Garbage. Steroids, I mean, sure, I guess whatever. But in that case, if John Jones isn't good, neither is Anderson Silva. Right? People are always putting Anderson Silva in their GOAT talk. If you're not putting John Jones if you're putting Anderson Silva in your GOAT talk and not John Jones, you don't know what you're talking about. Straight up, 100%, no ifs, ands, buts about it. That's the deal. Now, don't get me wrong, Kamaru Usman, in my era of watching fights, is the best welterweight I've ever seen. But I've been watching since 2016 or 2015. Excuse me. Kamaru Usman is phenomenal, and I think that if he's able to defend the belt, for 3 more years, and then go up and win the belt, then you can call him the greatest welterweight of all time. Then you can debate that. If Prime Kamaru fights Prime GSP wins every time. And that's just my opinion. I'm big on Jorge Masvidal, or excuse me, I'm big on George St. Pierre. And now I'm big on Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman, even after defending his belt for the third, fourth time, I still think he's criminally underrated. He's fighting these top dudes. And yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about it. The only thing I didn't like about about Usman's performance was excuse me, was a call out at the end. I think at 170, if you want the two best fighters to fight it out, there's no money involved. You want to see the two best dudes in the world go to war. Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, if they fought 10 times, they each win 5. That first fight, it was 2-2 going in the 5th, and I know what happened in the 5th. Kamaru won fair and square. I'm not saying that in the next fight, Colby Covington's going to win. I'm not. But I'm saying if you want the best dudes, in my opinion, in that division to fight again, it's got to be Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. He's going to ragdoll Jorge Masvidal. Ragdoll him. If he fights Stephen Thompson, I love you, Stephen. He's going to ragdoll Stephen Thompson. I'm not the highest on Leon Edwards, but I know he's good. He's going to ragdoll Leon Edwards again. He's going to ragdoll all these top dudes. If he fights Gilbert Burns again, he's going to win again. He fights Colby Covington. I mean, Kamaru Usman is probably going to be a betting favorite in that fight. But Colby Covington is going to give him a war and a fight to remember again, because that's just what they do. I guarantee it. If you want to see the two best dudes at 170 fight, you want that fight. If you want to see the most entertaining fight, that's the fight. If UFC wants to make the most money, then they're going to give the fight to Masvidal. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Simple as that. Next for Gilbert Burns, I would love to see him fight Michael Chiesa next. Either Michael Chiesa or Stephen Thompson. Michael Chiesa, in my opinion, since moving to welterweight, is one of the most underrated dudes in the division as well. And I think for Michael Chiesa to get up to the top, because Gilbert Burns is probably going to drop a little bit. I think at 170, especially with Leon Edwards, he's looking for a date right now. I think what you have to do is you have to do Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, and the winner fights Kamaru Usman for the belt. Simple as that. Because Colby Covington, in my opinion, does not deserve a shot yet. He already got a shot, lost, dominated Tyron Woodley after he eventually got the finish. In my opinion, you always need at least two wins. I feel so bad for Robert Whittaker, who has to go through Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, and Paulo Costa, which, I mean, he's going to ragdoll Paulo Costa, so, I mean, it's whatever. But I think if you lose a title shot and you win 2 fights in a row and there's no clear-cut number one contender better than you, then you deserve a shot. And I think for Leon Edwards, who hasn't lost since that Kamaru Usman fight, 5-6 years ago, something crazy like that, since that fight, he also needs a big name rather than Rafael dos Anjos. No disrespect to Rafael. He needs another big name win to get him that shot. And I think if he was to beat Colby Covington, that's that big name you need. And there's no question you're the number one contender. Feed him Kamaru Usman if he wins. But if Colby Covington wins that fight, feed him Kamaru Usman. Run up Colby Covington and Leon Edwards. No ifs, ands, buts about it. That's the fight to make, UFC. It's a fight to make. Then after that, in my opinion, Jorge Masvidal is going to fight Nate Diaz. If I guarantee you this, if Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal does not get done, and then I think next for a ton of other dudes at 170 is I think you could do either Stephen Thompson and Gilbert Burns, or you could do Michael Chiesa and Gilbert Burns. I think those are 2 fights that make sense for both fighters coming off losses. Is Stephen Thompson still the real deal? Is Michael Chiesa everything we think he's going to be? It blends perfectly. Everything blends perfectly. If Jorge Masvidal doesn't get his Gilbert Burns fight, I guarantee that he fights Nate Diaz next. Guaranteed. And I'm hoping that the UFC makes the right choice and doesn't give Jorge Masvidal a shot next, because it's going to be the same outcome. Same outcome. And as a Jorge Masvidal fan, I do not want to watch that. I don't. There's a ton of people who don't want to watch it either. I know it. I know there's a lot of people who don't want to watch that fight. Me including one of them. And yeah, UFC is looking good. We have a card this coming up weekend. Let me pull it up. This coming up weekend, main evented by Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaydes, which is a total mismatch. And I don't understand the matchmaking, but whoop-de-doo, Curtis Blaydes is going to absolutely ragdoll Derek Lewis. This fight is not going to be fun to watch. But I do like Curtis Blaydes. He's not the most entertaining dude, but I do like Curtis Blaydes, so I will be tuning in. But yeah, Curtis Blaydes is going to go on there, and he's going to take Derek Lewis down 30 times. It's just simple as that. The only way Derek Lewis can win this fight is if the first or second round he goes out there and he catches him. That's about it. All he can hope on is a puncher's chance, in my opinion. He's got to hope on a puncher's chance, and if he doesn't get that within the first 10 minutes, I doubt it's going to happen in itself. Co-main event is Yana Kunitskaya, Ketlin Vieira. Ketlin Vieira is really good. Yana Kunitskaya, she's the wife of Thiago Santos, so see how she does. Thiago Santos is fighting in 19 days from here against Alexander Rakic. Charles Rosa is always a fun dude to watch. He's fighting Derek Minner. Chris Daukaus, Alexei Oleinik. I'm big on Chris Daukaus. Alexei Oleinik's a legend. Who knows how this fight's going to go? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully Daukaus can pull it out, but what do I know? Rafael Alves versus Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini is really, really good. The UFC just signed him. He's a force to be reckoned with. Watch out for this guy. And then you have Thomas Spinall, who is a player at heavyweight, versus a legend in Andrei Arlovski. Should be interested. Phil Hawes is on the card. Jared Flash Gordon's on the card. Jakar Close is on the card. Eddie Wineland's on this card. What the heck? Where's on this card? Actually a pretty decent card. It's not the best fight I've ever seen, but it should get some good fights in. I mean, event's not gonna be the best. I'll tell you that right now. Curtis Blaydes gonna ride down straight up. But besides that, news in the MMA community. Stefan the Skyscraper Struve retired this morning. He beat the champ Stipe Miocic. A lot of people don't know that. He beat Stipe Miocic. So he's pretty darn good. But yeah, it was great to hear Joe Rogan back in the commentary. A lot of people don't like Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan. It was great to hear him back in the commentator's booth. Joe Rogan's my boy. I stand with Joe Rogan forever. People hate him on him because they ain't him. Simple as that. But besides that, that's all we got. That's all I've got. Hopefully you guys like this episode. If you do, like, comment, and subscribe. Working to try and get some more fighters on the podcast. If you haven't already, watched the episode with Justin James. And yeah, it's about all I got for you. Thank you guys for listening very much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the card this past weekend and enjoyed the card next weekend. Curtis Blaydes, Derek Lewis should be boring, but it's a UFC main event. There's no tension like UFC main event. And I mean, I said Derek Lewis was going to be Alexei Oleinik. Knocked him out. He's got a puncher's chance. He hits hard. Hopefully Derek Lewis. I don't even know, dude. I love both these dudes. I ain't gonna say hopefully for either one of them. Actually, never mind. I love both these dudes. Hopefully Curtis Blaydes gets the win. Hopefully Derek Lewis gets the win. Hopefully we just see a good fight. That's about all I got today. Thank you guys for listening. This is brought to you on Monday morning. And we'll see you guys in about 7 days on the next episode of the Underground MMA show. And, yeah, stay cool. Everybody be kind to each other. Just be nice. That's all you got to do. Just be a nice person and good things will happen to you. Yeah, be a good person. Let's ball out and enjoy the fights this weekend. And I'll see you guys next weekend.